Hi, Streaker here. Welcome back to Montfield Math, and today we will explore circles. What exactly is a circle? A circle is basically a set of points, the full set of points, equidistant to a single point. Basically what I mean by that is, let's say, okay, so this little metal cylinder is, if I put a metal cylinder here and I trace around it, each of those points are going to be equidistant from a center. If I draw all the points possible that are equidistant from a center, this isn't very accurate, but this is, then I get a circle. Oh, that includes all the points. If I do all of them, which is impossible because they're infinite, then it'll be completely dark. Okay. So that's the definition of a circle. Now to identify the major parts of a circle. Okay. So, the radius, the most famous part of a circle, is the distance from the center to one of the edges of the circle. Or no, a circle doesn't have edges, just like the end of a circle, from the middle to the end of a circle. Okay. So that's a radius. So another way to define a circle is the radii. Another way to describe a circle is all the radii possible from a single point. Okay, so that's what a radius is. I'll label that R. And another famous example that you may have heard of is the diameter. The diameter is the distance from one endpoint to another endpoint of a circle that passes through the center. Center is the center of a circle. Okay, let's label that C. Okay. So far we have three parts labeled: the diameter, the center, and the radius. Oh, and another interesting fact, anywhere from the center to an end is a radius, so 2 times the radius is the diameter. That's interesting, right? Because think about it. This is a radius, and this is a radius, and combined they form a diameter, right? I hope that makes sense, because you have to remember this. 2 times radius equals diameter. Really, really important. Or 2R equals D. Okay, now time to get into more fancy stuff. Okay, so what you normally call the perimeter, or like the total length of the edges, what we call of the circle is the circumference. Circumference. Okay. Okay, so that's the perimeter of the circle, as we call it. Okay. Both the radius and the diameter are really important. Okay, so now what we'll talk about are secants and tangents. What secants and tangents are, it's really easy actually. A tangent is a line that goes, that is, a tangent is a line that just touches a circle. Okay. A tangent is a line that just touches a circle at one point. So this touches a circle at this point, this touches a circle at this point. These two are tangents, okay? So tangents. So that's very important. And all tangents intersect at one point. All tangents meet the circle at one point. Okay, then there are secants. Basically, intersect the circle through 2 points. And between the first and second point, they go right through the circle. Secants. So, it's very useful stuff to know, because now I'm giving you a heads up. Okay. Okay, so now I would like to introduce to you a very special number. It's actually one of the most important numbers in math, and it's called pi. That doesn't look like a number. It's not 1, 2, or 3. Well, pi is a Greek letter, pi, that represents a number. That number is irrational, meaning that it comprises of random digits that go on forever and ever and ever, and never ends. Basically, it goes to infinity and that kind of thing. Okay, so pi is an irrational number, meaning that it never ends. It is 3.14 and goes on and on and on and on, and there's no finish. So it just goes on forever, but you just need to remember that pi is roughly 3.14. So that'll be important later on. So pi is roughly 3.14. Now, like there are formulas for the perimeter of rectangles, there is a formula to find the circumference of a circle. The circumference of a circle is represented by C for circumference. C equals pi times the diameter. Okay, so there's two formulas for writing the circumference. So the circumference is pi times the circumference is pi times the diameter. The circumference of a circle is also 2 times pi times the radius. The reason it's also 2 times pi times the radius, remember the diameter was 2 times the radius, really important, I said 2r equals d. So if you plug d for 2r, you get pi 2r, and as always you put the constant in front, so you get 2 pi r. Okay, remember these formulas. I'll keep them up here. I'll keep them nice and boxed up, and you should copy these down. Also, you should just remember that diameter is twice the radius. Like, I hope you shouldn't have to copy that down, but okay. So now, there's also the area of a circle, there's also area of a rectangle and that kind of thing, right? So this formula has to do with the radius. So area represented by A equals, you have to use our friend pi here. Pi is used in almost all circle geometry. It's actually used in all circle geometry. Okay, so the area for, you have to remember that pi is 3.14, by the way. Most important thing to remember here, pi is 3.14. Okay, so the area is pi times the radius again. Okay, so the area is pi r squared. R is the radius, the distance from the center to an endpoint. Okay, so the area of the circle is pi times pi r squared. Okay, just remember that. You have that remembered? Okay, moving on. Wait, I'll give you 2 seconds for you to copy this down. Actually, I'll give you like 5. Or you can just hit the pause button. Okay, moving on. We're getting more and more advanced here. Let's move to arcs, sectors, and beyond. Okay. Pi is 3.14. Good. Okay. New topic. Still relating with circles. Okay. You may have not heard of this, but an arc is part of the circumference and a sector is part of the area. Those concepts will be very important, but for now, let's just focus on something called degrees. So, a circle is measured in degrees. The angles in a circle, to be precise. Like, let's say you have a pizza. Yummy, pizza is yummy. Okay. Let's say your pizza is cut into 6 slices. 6 equally yummy slices. Okay. Put the pizza with lots of yummy cheese globules and stuff. Okay, so another key concept to remember, the total angles or the total measure of a full circle is 360 degrees. Degrees is like a little O on top. Okay. The measure of a full circle is 360 degrees. So each of these pizza slices is 1/6. It has an angle measure of 1/6 of this 360 degrees full pizza. So 360 degrees of a full pizza times 1/6 of that full pizza is 360 divided by 6. So 36 divided by 6 is 6. You tack on the 0 and you get 60. So each of the slices are 60 degrees. You just have to remember that the total measure of a full circle is 360 degrees, okay? A semicircle, semi means half. Semicircle is 180 degrees because it's 1/2 a full circle, and a quarter circle is 90 degrees. Have that ready, right? Okay, so now I talked briefly about sectors and arcs. What are sectors and arcs? Okay, so I said the arc is a measure of the circumference, and as we remember, or at least took in notes, circumference equals pi d or 2 pi r, let's stick with this one because it's more popular, and if you have to memorize one of them, I recommend you memorize this one because you could derive either way. You could derive both either way because 2 times the radius is the diameter. Okay, so the circumference is 2 pi r. So how does this have to do with an arc? So the arc is just part of it. So let's say I want to measure the third of this arc. So because let's assume that I want to measure the sides, like how long the length of the pizza is, so I can decide how much crust everybody gets, because crust is yummy if you like crust. Okay, so to determine how much crust the pizza has, or like how long the crust is, we have to multiply 1/3 by 2 pi r. But you can't directly multiply it by 1/3. You have to remember, a full circle is 360 degrees. So 2 pi r, you have to multiply by a fraction of 360 degrees. So we want 1/3 of the circle. What's 1/3 of the fraction? Oh, how many degrees is 1/3 of 360? It's 120 degrees. So 120 over 360 is 1/3. So when you multiply 2 pi r by 1/3, you get 2/3 pi r. Let's assume the radius is 1. Okay, yeah, no, let's just keep the radius as r. So depending on the radius, your answer is 2 pi r all over 3. Okay, so let's move into an actual example. Let's say you have 1/4. You want 1/4 of the total pizza crust from an entire pizza pie because you're really hungry and you're willing to eat an entire pizza pie. Let's say the radius, which if you remember is the end point to the middle, is 12 inches or 1 foot. So we'll answer our question in feet. So our radius is 1 foot. Okay, so to find how much crust there is, because you want to find the measure of quarter the entire pizza. So how much crust is on quarter of the whole pizza. So what you want to do is 2 pi, since our radius is 1 foot, so we can multiply the entire thing by 2 pi 1 foot. And you also have to multiply it by how many degrees it is over 360 degrees. Since it occupies quarter of the circle, it's 90 degrees over 360 degrees, which is 1/4. And multiplying, you get 2 pi feet over 4. So 2 pi feet over 4, which is pi over 2 feet. And we have finished. Okay. So now that we know that our pizza crust has pi over 2 feet, right? Okay. Now we finally found out circumference and arc measures. Let us explore area and sectors. Okay. So remember that the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r, okay? Good. Oh, and you still need to remember that the total measure of a full circle is 360 degrees. Okay. So now let us take, so the area of a circle, if we remember, is 2, no, that's a circumference. What am I saying? Okay, the area of the circle is pi times the radius squared, which means you multiply the radius twice. So pi times r. Okay. Let's say you really like pizza. Okay? Since you like pizza so much, you're going to eat an entire pizza pie with a radius of 9 feet. That's slightly taller than the tallest human being who's ever walked on the earth. So you're going to eat, since you love pizza so much, you're going to eat a full pizza with radius of 9 feet. Let's see how much pizza you eat. We can measure how much pizza you eat by area, because it's the entire, area, I suppose, that you're just going to be chowing down on, right? So we could plug R for 9, which basically means that A equals pi times 9 squared. Since 9 times 9 is 81, we could just say that our answer is 81 pi. Perfect. Pi is yummy. Okay. However, let's say you have 2 siblings. Siblings are brothers and sisters. Okay. So let's say you have 2 siblings, and you have your 9-foot radius pizza, and all 3 of you are willing to share. So we can do the same thing, but now we have a sector. A sector is just part of the area of a circle. Okay, so the sector of a circle is still pi r squared, but this time multiplied by a number over 360, and multiplied by the degree measure over 360. Okay, because since 360 degrees is the measure of a full circle. Whew. Okay, so since you're dividing the pizza up your 2 siblings, you have 3 people total, so each person gets 1/3 of the pie. So how many degrees do you need to multiply by 3 to get 360? That's 360 divided by 3. 36 divided by 3 is 12, so you get 120 degrees over 360 degrees, which cancels out to 1/3. Okay, so your radius is still 9. Your radius is still 9 feet, so 9 squared is 81. So you multiply pi by 81 by 1/3. 81 divided by 3 is 27. So from your 2 siblings, the pi you get now is 27. The amount of pizza you get is 27 pi. This is the symbol for pi. It's pretty useful. Okay, so the area is 27 pi feet, because 9 feet was our radius. Whew. I hope that covered circles pretty well for the basics. Like, comment, and subscribe on Montville Math, and have a good day.